So I'd like to start this speech off with the story of the first time I met Kelly's fiance, Anna. Kelly and Anna started dating, first few weeks into the semester, college first semester, freshman year. And they went dating for about 3 or 4 months until they both had a free weekend, and Kelly said, you know what, I want to take you home and meet my family, my friends back in Cheyenne. Anna was terrified. She said, oh, I don't want to meet your parents, that's so stressful, your sister's it's a big part of your life, I don't want to disappoint her. And Kelly said, no, you don't have to worry about any of that. What you have to worry about is meeting my friend Nick. He's a psychopath. That was really mean. She actually said that about me. Granted, I was very protective over Kelly for most of my life. She's been, just this small little girl that's been following me around everywhere, and I'm just a ray of sunshine, the best person I've ever met. And I wanted her to be happy. I didn't think anyone is good enough for Kelly. And so, they get rolling to town about 11 o'clock at night. It's Cheyenne, Wyoming, there's not a lot to do, so I'm at a Denny's. We had a standing reservation at Denny's. I got there first, and I'm standing there, I have both hands on the table, and I'm staring her down, because I'm like, this girl is not good enough for my friend Kelly. And they sit down at the table, and Anna reaches her hand out, and she says, hi, I'm Anna. I'm like, yep, I know, you're Anna Elizabeth Rankel. You were born June 10th, 2000. You were born in Windsor, Colorado. You played soccer for 10 years, but you quit your sophomore year. That's not good dedication. And you have 3 unpaid parking tickets. What's this about? And, I put so much pressure on this poor girl, and I'm surprised she didn't go running for the hills after she met me, but I was completely wrong. I thought there was no one who was good enough for Kelly, and Anna, you've become one of my best friends over the past couple of years, and I gotta say, if Kelly's a ray of sunshine, then you are too, and I'm glad that you two are gonna get married. To Anna and Kelly.
Nick, thank you very much. Very nice story, and we feel like we know both the couple here. Well, our next speaker is Jay Stewart, and I'm delighted to introduce Jay. Jay's going to be talking about a tradition that both of her families have. So please, let's give a warm welcome to Jay Stewart.
Okay, I come from a 2-family household. I have my mom and my siblings at this house, and I have my dad and my stepmom and my siblings at this house. And what's weird about this is every major holiday, Janae, me, it's supposed to be at that house and at both houses every holiday. So on Memorial Day, I'm at my mom's house for the morning, playing with a little 5-year-old, beating him up. Then by like 3 p.m., I'm catching the bus to my dad's house to go play with my little sisters, and we just chill and watch TV for the day. Every holiday is different at my house. On Christmas, it's particularly different at my mom's house. My mama does not believe in Christmas anymore. I say this, I mean presents. How dare she? No presents. I am a 19-year-old woman at the time. I want my present. No Christmas tree, no lights, nothing. It is a bad house. But I love her, and she loves me. At my dad's house, every year after Thanksgiving, literally the day after Thanksgiving, we are up at, not too early, like noon. Noon is a good time. We are up putting up the Christmas tree. It's a fake one, so we don't have to go out and buy one every year. We putting it together, we taking out Christmas decorations all over the years, and we putting them up over lights. We got candy canes that we buy. We each get a pack of candy canes that are ours, but not ours, to put on the tree. And then I go home, school ultimately. Then it's Christmas break. Half of the break I'm with my mom, and when I'm with my mom, I am literally in front of the TV watching whatever is on. We watch weird movies, well, not even movies, we watch Burn Notice, nothing to do with Christmas, nothing at all. Or if my little sisters or brother-in-law will watch The Grinch, or we won't watch The Grinch, like they'll put it on, and I'll be on my phone, yeah, that's good, he did that, okay, girl, go ahead. And if I'm at my dad's house, we are all sitting around decorating our stockings, or the day before Christmas, he puts we get to put the stars on the tree. Now, let me tell y'all something about my daddy house. There are, I want to say 9 people living in that house. But I'm going to tell you, there's my dad, my stepmom, and 3 sisters, a brother, and me when I'm over there, plus another brother and a dog. I count him as a person. And every year we take turns putting up the tree. Now imagine a little Janae, but little. And fighting over who gets to put up the Christmas tree. My family is different, but I wouldn't change our traditions for nothing. Every year I'm with my mom, we chill, we do our thing, we have a little girl talk, and then when I'm with my dad, I get to play with my siblings that I don't see. Well, I see throughout the year, but not as much as I see as my mom's side of the family. So it's like a weird family tradition to go over and like have to catch the bus from downtown to Richmond Heights in St. Louis. It's a 2-hour bus ride, but I take it every year. So I like my family, and I love that dog. Really love that dog. But my point to this is, my tradition is going from house to house on every holiday. Every major holiday, I'm at both houses when I can be. And it's just to show that my family, that I don't love one side more than the other. I love them both equally. But the girl ain't got no car, so y'all gonna take my tradition and ride a bus to y'all house and love it.
Okay, Shay, thank you. It feels like we celebrate the holidays with you. Very nice description. Well, our next speaker I'm delighted to introduce is Trent Nazar. Sharing a passion for Chicago sports with his father, especially for the Cubs his whole life, this individual has learned a lot about values. He also continued a lot of Chicago Cubs traditions, not only with his father, but with all Cubs fans. Those values and traditions changed a bit, though, when the Chicago Cubs hired manager Joe Matt, who changed the landscape of the Chicago Cubs forever. It's my privilege to introduce Trent Nazar.
Growing up, one of the most valuable things I've had the chance to cherish forever is sharing a passion for not only the Chicago Cubs, but for baseball as a whole with my dad. Ever since I was a little kid, I remember sitting out in the garage and watching the Cubs games with my dad. And for most of the time, it was pretty awful. I've been alive for 23 years, and of those 23 years, the Cubs have had 13 losing seasons. So I've seen them lose a lot. Then October 31st, 2014, that losing tradition seemed to be fading away. Today I'll be paying tribute to the best manager in that the Chicago Cubs have had in the modern era, Joe Maddon. So in 2014, Joe Maddon was the manager for the Tampa Bay Rays. Honestly, nobody expected him to leave. He didn't even remember that he had a buyout that year. But on October 31st, 2014, the Cubs announced that Joe Maddon would be the manager, and the Cubs rebuilding. The rebuilding Cubs were ready to take the next step. The very first season of him under him in 2015 was amazing and exceeded all expectations. The Cubs went from a 73 and 89 record in 2014 to a 97 and 65 record. He led the Cubs to the first playoff appearance since 2008, won Manager of the Year, and he sent the Cardinals home in an LDS, which all set them up for the magical 2016 season. On November 2nd of 2016, myself and thousands of other Cubs fans gathered around Wrigley Field watching them play in Cleveland of Game 7 of the World Series. Around 1 o'clock that morning, the marquee outside Wrigley Field lit up saying that the Chicago Cubs were the 2016 World Champions. Joe Maddon led the Cubs to a 103-58 record that year and took them to the first World Series championship in 108 years. On an absolutely beautiful day in Chicago on November 4th, I joined over 5 million other Cubs fans for the Cubs World Series parade. When Joe Maddon stood at the podium, all smiles, holding the World Series trophy, gleaming in the bright Chicago sun, he looked out at the crowd and said, "Welcome to Cubs Talk 2016. Seeing him stand up there with that World Series trophy in his hands, surrounded by millions of other Cubs fans, solidified him as the best manager the Cubs have had in the modern era. Winning, though, wasn't the only tradition that Joe brought to the Chicago Cubs. He brought plenty of other values and traditions. Maddon values having fun, and he values his traditions more than anything else in this world. Every year, he would have petting zoos, pajama parties, magic shows, wine drinking parties, hippie vans, and road trip themes for all their road trip games. And he made sure to make this a yearly tradition. Along with those, he valued temperament more than anything else. He relentlessly stayed positive and upbeat no matter what. Even when he was announced that he wasn't going to be re-signed, he kept a very positive attitude throughout the entire game, even when they lost 9-0 to the St. Louis Cardinals. Joe Madden will leave Chicago as the best manager of the modern era. With his fun values and quirky traditions, he leaves behind as he has changed the culture of the Chicago Cubs, and he has made watching the Chicago Cubs and the garage with my dad a very fun tradition yet again.
Thank you for that, Trent. You remind us that a lot of people have an impact on us, not necessarily just people that we know personally. Very nice, thank you. Well, up next, I'm honored to introduce a member of the U.S. Navy here to present an award. Shelby Green has been in the service 3 years herself and plans to stay in for the full 20 years. She currently oversees 6 other members who are in her unit. She's active in leading the unit in various mission-critical projects. Please, everybody welcome Shelby Green.
Honor, courage, commitment. From the first day of Navy boot camp, you learn to live by these 3 words. These principles form you and change the way you view life and service and after you get out. It was not until I joined the Navy that I realized how important it was to be disciplined. Without the exemplary personnel I have gotten to work with, my devotion to bettering my values and motives would not have been instilled. Honor. This is someone that is honest and truthful with whomever they interact with. They conduct themselves with the most ethical manner in all relationships, whether superior or subordinate to themselves. Acceptance of any junior personnel and upfront about any issues and concerns. They live by an uncompromisable code of integrity. They take responsibility of their actions and never break their word. Fulfill all responsibilities in both the Navy and in their personal lives 24/7. They do not tolerate improper or illegal behavior under their command. They are accountable for their own behavior and mindful of the privilege they have to serve their country. Courage. The courage to meet the demands of the mission, no matter how hazardous or difficult it may be. To be able to make critical decisions without regard to the personal consequences, all while adhering to a higher standard of personal decency. Keeping loyalty to the United States while utilizing resources entrusted to them in an honest and careful way. To have courage, they must exhibit the moral and mental strength to do what is right, even in the face of adversity. Commitment, obeying the orders of those appointed over them, while demanding respect from the command. Care for the safety, professional, personal, and spiritual well-being of our people. They show respect to all, no matter our differences. They treat each individual with dignity, have the commitment to create a positive change and constant improvement. They exhibit the highest degree of moral character, technical excellence, quality, and competence in what they are trained to do. They work every day to improve the quality of their work, their people, and themselves. To the first person that comes to mind when I think of these values and the person who influenced my view on my career in the Navy, I thank you for making me a more compassionate and driven person. This coworker has always pushed me to my limits and challenged me to my best. For being the example I needed in order to strive to excel, not only in my work, but also in my life. I am pleased to announce the recipient of the Blue Jacket Award is IT1 Jason Kirk. Please give him a warm round of applause.
Thank you. So thank you very much for listening to 4 great speeches.